Hi, I'm Jessica Rudnicki with Reynolds & Reynolds. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm sitting down with someone who's mastered the reconditioning process. Tim Whalen is the service manager at Voss Chevrolet here in Dayton, Ohio, and he's ready to share some tips and best practices on how to turn used cars faster. Let's get connected. Tim, it's been a while since we've talked, and I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, no problem. Happy to be here.
I want to start this conversation by first addressing the elephant in the showroom, which is inventory levels. I know pretty much every dealership that I've spoken to is experiencing some type of inventory shortage, because as we're coming out of this pandemic and getting back to work and on the road, we're seeing kind of those ripple effects of the pandemic. So, there's production issues surrounding new vehicles with the chip shortage, but fortunately, vehicle demand remains high, which is good. So with these recent trends, consumers are very interested in buying used cars, even with the high prices, which is a good thing for dealerships, right?
Sure, absolutely. It's a little
Yes.
scary when you look at the new car lot right now. Not many cars out there.
Yeah, I was just out in California. They were having the same issue. So you're not the only one experiencing a little bit of a bare lot, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We're going in the right direction. So hopefully by the end of this year, we'll start seeing those new vehicle production pick back up.
I think we will.
Yes. But Tim, so the reason I want to talk to you today is because as someone who oversees the process of flipping, used vehicle inventory, what would you say are the three most important steps to achieving, that shorter cycle time?
So I think one of the most important things is you have accountability along the way. Most organizations have a multi-step process. Depending on your size, you might have different departments involved. So it's real important that you have accountability and you know what everybody along the process is doing. Everything needs to be trackable. Everybody needs to be accountable for their step in the process. So we need to make sure things are happening in a timely manner, and we need to make sure we're getting a good quality inspection and good quality process while that's going on.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you and I have spoken before, so I know that you're the kind of manager that likes to hold your employees accountable, make sure that, everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. But for some other service departments or service managers who maybe don't see a lot of accountability or maybe even have trouble, enforcing accountability, what advice can you give those service managers?
So you need to identify all the roles involved, and you have responsibilities from the sales department on through each department, and it's real important that those communication channels are open and clear. Need to make sure that everybody clearly knows their defined role in the process, and you have to have a way to make sure people are achieving the goals that you set out for them. So it's real important that you have some way to do this, some system of tracking that's efficient. Because a used car is a depreciating asset. So every moment that car sits on your lot, not available for sale, costs you money. Also, if you don't get a good quality inspection in it during that process, it's going to end up costing you money because you have to go back and refix something or do something that you make some repair that you didn't want to make to begin with. So it can be costly.
Yes. Now, you mentioned using a tracking tool, which sounds easy enough, but I'm curious, before you at your dealership started using, a tool to manage your reconditioning process, is there an example of a time that you can think of, or maybe even a story you could share with us where you had a car maybe held up in the recon process, and how long did that take to finally get it cycled through?
Sure. I think to begin with, we were like a lot of dealers where, we had our own way of trying to track things. We would take repair orders and we would put them in different baskets and move them along through the system. Well, you think it's a good system until you find out it's not. We had one time where one of those repair orders fell behind another file, and it was a car that just happened to be sent out to another dealership for a recall, and we lost track of it because of that, and it was gone for 2 weeks. And, again, every minute costs you money. So that was 2 weeks we didn't have that vehicle available for sale. So yeah, it can be dangerous if you're not really on top of it.
Well, I'm hoping that with the tracking tool that you don't experience, those kind of mishaps anymore. But now that you do, other than improved accountability, which you mentioned earlier with your employees, not having ROs fall behind other paperwork, what sort of other results are you experiencing?
Well, now that we can see what everybody is doing in every step of the process and they can see it as well, you can consult with individual employees, individual departments. If you see there's a bottleneck somewhere in the process, it's easily identifiable now because we see reports where the time that a vehicle stays in each one of the processes that we set up. So each one of your processes set up like a department, and you understand how long it's taking to get through each one of those processes. So we can consult with individual people. Hey, why is this happening? Let's find a way to shorten that cycle time. I mean, we've gotten our time down to 2 days, which is just unheard of in the industry, and it's legitimate. It really is that efficient at this point.
That is amazing to hear too, because the average cycle time, I think, is like 12.2 days. So getting cars turned in 2 days is unbelievable. So round of applause for you for doing that, because those results are amazing. You're welcome. Tim, I have one final question for you. Obviously, being able to turn cars faster is a major opportunity for dealerships right now with the inventory shortage. So that being said, why should more dealers, in your opinion, tap into, the profit potential that's created by having a more efficient recon process?
Well, again, I think a lot of dealers think they know how the system is working, but until you have a tool that really shows you, you don't know. And with the money that's involved in the used car operation, if you have a used car operation of any kind of size, it can add up very quickly. So now ownership, managers, everybody in the process is buying into the important thing is to get a quality inspection, get it done in a timely manner, and it's working for us. Um, and it's really not a big expense to do it either, which is surprising. It's very cost efficient to set up something like that, and the results are very provable.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, and that this has all been great advice for dealers who maybe are experiencing some of the issues that you were prior to getting a tracking tool. So Tim, thank you so much again for being here and sharing your tips. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
Happy to do it anytime. Thanks for having me.
As the demand for vehicles continues to climb, Tim's advice will help your dealership flip inventory faster and keep cars on your lot. Before we hop off, don't forget, you can watch or listen to episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to get notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.